There's new information that changes the timeline of Gene Hackman and his wife's last days. Last month, Hackman and his wife were found dead in their home in New Mexico. Hackman was a Hollywood star and legend who one day disappeared from the spotlight and away from fame. But the discovery of his and his wife's deaths left people with more questions than answers. Now, a shocking new discovery has been made that disproves all previous theories. There are rumors of researchers have found hidden letters and a past he never talked about. What was he hiding and why did he leave it all behind? Now the truth is out and it's more unbelievable than any movie he ever made. Stay with us as we go deeper because this story is about to take a wild turn. Eugene Hackman was a Hollywood star, but he was also a force to be reckoned with. He built a career that most actors could only dream of. Hackman, a two-time Academy Award winner who had long avoided the spotlight in Hollywood, did something unexpected at the height of his fame. He quit Hollywood. He didn't give his fans a farewell tour or a dramatic farewell, he just left them in silence. After his retirement in 2004, Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa moved to Santa Fe to live a private life. He avoided the spotlight and never explained why he left. Arakawa, a former classical pianist, co-founded their close ties to the community by opening a home furnishing store in Santa Fe. However, his actions left fans wondering if he was just tired of Hollywood or if there was something more to it. While fans were still wondering why the actor disappeared from the spotlight in such a strange way, the world was shocked to hear that Gene Hackman and his wife had died. It wasn't just their deaths that shocked everyone. The way their bodies were found has left everyone speechless. Everyone was shocked. There were strange details and unanswered questions that made the whole thing seem mysterious. What happened in Hackman's private home, and why did it take so long for the truth to come out? Buckle up, because this story is full of turns and a surprise that no one saw coming. The mysterious deaths and causes of Gene Hackman and his wife Betsy Arakawa have left people with more questions than answers following their deaths. A famous actor and his wife were found dead in their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico on February 26, 2025. Their deaths were sad enough, but the strange events that led to them being found have made this story even more disturbing. Gene Hackman was 95 years old and had been dealing with Alzheimer's for a while. His close friends said he had changed a lot in recent months, with one saying he just wasn't the same anymore. It was hard to see his health get worse, so he stayed home more and avoided the outside world. People who knew him well noticed that he had become suspicious. He told one friend that he thought someone was watching him. It could have been his illness playing tricks on him, or it could have been real. We'll never know. It all came to light when Jesse Kessler, a contractor who had worked for the couple for over 16 years as a Hackman handyman, became worried because he hadn't heard from them in a while and something just didn't feel right. So he decided to check on them with a security guard. What they found was like something out of a horror movie. Betsy was on the bathroom floor next to a space heater that had fallen over. There were prescription bottles and pills all over the place, and Hackman was in another room. Jessica, who was still shaken, later said, "It was one of the worst days of my life." As the police looked around, something even stranger happened. The couple's dogs, Bear and Nikita, wouldn't stop pacing through the house. They kept leading first responders from room to room as if they were trying to say something. Eventually, they stopped right where Hackman's body was. That wasn't the only strange thing. The couple also had a third dog, Zena, who was found dead from being dehydrated and hungry in a crate. Why was she locked up and why had no one called for help? These are questions that investigators may never get answers to. Investigators quickly figured out how they died. Betsy died of Hauntacirus pulmonary syndrome, a rare disease spread by rodent droppings. Her death made things even more confusing. How did she get such a rare illness in a wealthy, well-kept home? Meanwhile, Hackman's death was caused by heart disease, made worse by his Alzheimer's. Investigators think he might not have known his wife had died. He could have been alone in the house with her for days without knowing what happened. Also, one of the scariest things about the house was how empty it looked, like time had stopped. There was food on the kitchen counter waiting to be eaten, and a cup of tea sitting next to Hackman's desk, also empty. There were no signs of a fight or a call for help, and the neighbors hadn't noticed anything odd. Finally, their bodies were found, with Hackman still sitting in his chair with a half-written note in front of him, and Betsy upstairs with her hands folded over her. It looked like someone carefully put them there. The couple's pets have also played a touching role in this case. Xena, their 12-year-old Australian Kelpie mix, was found mummified in a crate, having died of dehydration and starvation, ruling out poisoning or infection. Their other two dogs, Bear and Nikita, were found alive and reportedly led emergency workers to Hackman's body, showing how close the pets were to their owners. However, their sudden and almost mysterious deaths have left people confused. Is this just a sad case of old age and illness, or is there something else we don't know? Now let's talk about the rumored Hackman study. Gene Hackman's house in Santa Fe, New Mexico, was always known as a peaceful place where he spent most of his later years with his wife, Betsy. However, after they died, the cleanup and investigation team found a room that seemed to have been there for years without anyone knowing about it, according to people who knew Hackman. He never talked about it. It was like a secret he wanted to keep hidden, a part of his memory that no one was allowed to touch. But when the house was empty and the cleaning crew and police started searching every corner to finish their investigation, they found a door that was locked from the outside, as if someone never wanted it to be opened. It took a lot of work, but the door was finally pried open, and what they saw inside shocked everyone. The room wasn't as empty as one might think. Dust covered many shelves and bookcases, but the desk in the middle was eerily clean, and there was an old typewriter sitting on top of it, with a blank sheet of paper ready to be typed on at any time. The shelves were full of yellowed books about criminology codes and unsolved cases. Some books had pencil notes in them, and others had pages that were marked. Most notably, they found a series of handwritten drafts, letters that were never sent, and an unfinished manuscript called The Truth We Bury. The ink on the pages of this manuscript was fresher than the others, thought the typewriter had been used recently, before the room locked down. The first pages of the manuscript described the main character as a veteran Hollywood actor who had lived a great life, but kept a secret that no one knew about. The story was about an event from the character's past that he didn't want to talk about, and a mysterious room he tried to hide from everyone. It was like Hackman had written a scary prophecy about himself. Next to the manuscript was a stack of letters from many. Some letters had never been sent, some were old and yellowed, and some were fairly new. One letter stood out because it was addressed to someone no one had ever heard of. The name wasn't related to any of Hackman's friends, family, or co-workers, and the letter's content was jumbled, as if the writer had thought about what to write before starting. Was it an admission of guilt or a forgotten writer's confession? Ramblings, but the letters made the room even stranger. Besides the manuscript and letters, there were other things in the room that made it even stranger. An old photo lay face down on the desk. When it was turned over, it showed a picture of an unknown young woman. On the back of the photo, someone had written, "Never forget." There were rough drawings of a house that no one knew, and strange dialogue fragments written on pieces of paper that said, "They will come looking, but they won't find it." All of these clues pointed to a part of Hackman's past, but were they just made up, or did they reflect something real? The room felt like a vault full of secrets that Hackman didn't want anyone to know, but now that the door was open, new questions arose. Why had the door been locked for so long? Who was the last person to use it? What else was hidden inside the box that hadn't been found yet? As they went through the stack of papers, they found a small wooden box carefully wrapped in paper. When they opened it, they saw handwritten drafts of unfinished screenplays. These scripts had nothing to do with Hollywood. No one had heard of them, and Hackman wasn't even known as a screenwriter. One of the scripts, called The Last Man on Set, sent chills down my spine. Hackman was known for being an actor and an author. He co-wrote several detective novels, but no one knew he had also written film scripts. This discovery brought up a very important question. Did Hackman want these stories to be made public, or were they meant to stay secret forever? The title of the script, The Loneliest Man on Set, made people feel lonely. It was about an old actor who was famous once but had been left by Hollywood. He wandered through old film sets where lights used to be on. The main character, Edward Lane, was an award-winning actor, but now that he was old, no one remembered him. Directors who used to admire him no longer called him, and producers who used to look for him no longer bothered to talk to him. Then one day, he got an invitation to an empty studio where he had shot his first movie. There were only dusty props, old film reels, and a creepy atmosphere left. As the story got stranger, Edward soon realized that the scenes around him were playing back lines from his old movies. Films rang through the empty room, and reflections in the glass showed not his present self, but a picture of him as a child many years ago. In the final scene, Edward Lane stood in an empty studio, looked straight into the camera, and said, "They will remember me only when it's too late." Of the script felt like a curse, a dark prophecy. Was Hackman writing about himself, since he had turned down all film offers, given no interviews, and made no public appearances during his retirement? Did he really want to be forgotten? The Last Man on Set seemed to show an obsession with the decline of fame, which is a fear many veteran actors share. But Hackman didn't cling to the spotlight. Instead, he buried it. Even though most of the script was finished, some pages were missing and dialogues were left unfinished. There was a small note in the wooden box with the haunting words, "The ending doesn't matter. No one will see it anyway." These words made people very uncomfortable. Had Hackman accepted that no one would ever read his story? The other papers contained other scripts, each with parts of Hackman's confessions and memories encoded into characters and dialogues. One was called The Man Who Walked Away and was about a famous man who disappeared. Some actors don't leave the stage leaves them. As these drafts came to light, more questions arose. Did he plan to publish them? Were they fiction, or did they reveal a truth he never spoke out loud? And the biggest question of all, was there something Hackman never said? The rumors and speculations about their deaths, along with the strange circumstances of their deaths, led to extensive investigations. The first tests for carbon monoxide poisoning were negative, and there were no signs of foul play. However, the presence of a rare virus like haunt virus in an urban setting confused health officials. Orton virus is usually contracted in rural areas with a lot of rodent activity, making its appearance in a well-kept home very unusual. To make things even more complicated, rumors and conspiracy theories started spreading online. One claim said that bodies had been found in a secret tunnel under the Hackman home, but these rumors were not true, have been debunked by reliable sources, showing how important it is to rely on accurate information during these trying times. The situation also brought to light the difficulties caregivers face. Emma Hemming Willis, wife of actor Bruce Willis, who is suffering from frontotemporal dementia, emphasized the need for support systems for caregivers, drawing comparisons to Arakawa's role in Hackman's life. She said that caregivers often neglect their own health while taking care of their loved ones, highlighting the importance of putting together their different reports about when Betsy died. Official records say she died on February 11, but Dr. Joshua Child from Cloudberry Health says she called his clinic on February 12 to make an appointment. This difference has caused interest and added to the uncertainty of the investigation. In the middle of all these strange details, the lack of security footage from the Hackman home has been a source of, well, there is a lot of disagreement among investigators about whether or not there were surveillance cameras in the home. If there were, the missing footage could have given important clues about what happened before the couple died. The fact that the FBI is now involved in the investigation has only added to the public's doubts. Authorities think the deaths were suspicious and are carefully looking at all the evidence, from medications to electronics, to piece together the couple's last days. Hackman's paranoia, the unclear timeline, and the missing security footage have all led to a lot of questions and theories. Some people think they died of health problems, while others think something more sinister may have happened. Also, the couple's large estate, which was estimated to be worth $62 million, got a lot of attention. Hackman's will reportedly named Arakawa as the only beneficiary, and she would receive the money after he died. This caused questions about the inheritance, and lawyers say that if Hackman doesn't update his will, his estate may go to his 3 children from his first marriage. This new information makes an already complicated situation even more difficult. Arakawa's complicated will, which left her money to Hackman and then to charity if they both died within 90 days of each other, made things even more difficult. As people tried to make sense of these new details, rumors started spreading that there was a secret tunnel under Hackman's house, with some saying the FBI had found it. Spooky reports said they found a lot of bodies buried in the ground, but reputable fact-checking sites like Snopes have debunked these claims, saying there is no evidence to support such crazy theories. Now everyone is talking about Hackman's estate, which is thought to be worth 62 million British pounds. His will named Arakawa as the only beneficiary, but since she died before he did, lawyers say that his 3 children from a previous relationship should get the money. As investigations continue, Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie might inherit the estate under intestate succession laws. This situation is made more complicated by the closeness of their deaths and the specifics in their wills. The deaths of Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa have left a hole in the hearts of people who knew and admired their work. As investigations continue, the hope is that clarity will emerge, honoring their memories and the lives they lived together. The world is still waiting for answers to the many questions that have come up because of this tragic story. Gene Hackman's legacy as a movie star is now linked to a real-life mystery that has captivated the world, leaving everyone to wonder what really happened behind closed doors at the Hackman residence. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and click on the next video that appears on your screen.